Shooter ready, stand by.
So we're here with Anthony Vega, Western champion, safety officer, expert in ESP.
Expert ESP.
Looking at carry optics in the future, maybe?
Definitely exploring the possibility.
And brother of from another mother. So we're here just to see what have you been up to. How was your Christmas?
Christmas was awesome. I got to spend a lot of time with the family. Being of Hispanic descent, you know, usually it's always a large family gathering, making tamales and having a great time. Oh yeah.
Was the house like
completely packed? So we had families split up all over the place, but our household was the main household for the tamale making. So
all the families come together in one place.
Yeah. So
at one time.
This time it was not the whole family, but everybody that was locals. So it was about 40, 50 people, and made what was it, 35 pounds of masa. So
oh my gosh, how many tamales was?
About at least 6-7 dozen plus, easy.
So do you just put this on the stove, or do you sit it outside?
Multiple pots on the stove. So I mean, there's at any given point in time, there's 10, 12 of us all making tamales, drying, wrapping, spreading it, loading it up with the meat. I think we ended up cooking off like 18 or 19 pounds of pork shoulder and
pork, beef,
did pork cheese. And chili cheese.
Oh,
so green chili cheese. Oof.
That's gonna hurt.
Oh no, it's so good.
What's going on for New Year's? Any plans?
I think we're just gonna lay low. Probably just make a nice dinner. Being that me and Megan didn't have too much time together for Christmas, we're gonna kind of do our Christmas little deal. New Year's Eve. So it'd be nice, make a nice little meal and exchange gifts then.
So what's going on with any shooting goals for next year?
Shooting goals, definitely looking into carry optics. But you know, since someone's been shooting some ESP, I've got me a little more motivated to stick around with ESP for a little bit longer.
That was definitely a mistake of mine, trying to pick a fight with the wrong guy. But that was exciting, and the subscribers actually chimed in and said that they're giving me positive feedback, and they definitely want to see more of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was all for it. I thought it was, maybe it wasn't just me, but I think how the video was edited, having it side by side, all the feedback I got from individuals, absolutely loved it, because you could see two shooters on how things are slightly different. Especially side by side. So.
That was good and bad because.
Well, we learn from our mistakes, and sometimes seeing out a different perspective puts a lot more into perspective.
It's funny because I learned that missing steel definitely made a huge difference in time. That's something you guys should probably practice a little bit more. Little steels, 6-inch, right? 6-inch disc.
6-inch disc, and I think between 12 to 15 yards.
Yeah, that was like a 5-second difference.
Yeah, it was
from that miss.
Yeah.
But new sights, I
changed it over. Huh?
I altered that problem.
Yeah. What'd you end up going with? Little fiber optic? Or?
So Dawson. I got it from Dawson, and the front was too small. I had too much gaps on the side.
Gotcha.
So it was moving around, which is okay for CQB, but when you're looking at precision shooting, right? You can't just get the dot somewhere close because
you gotta be a little bit better than close enough.
That would be off the target, is what I experienced. So I altered that, and we'll see how that goes. I noticed that I brought my grouping a little bit tighter. Closer, and that might help. We'll see what kind of
find out what results happen next go around.
Might be another bonfire, right?
Hey, only room for improvement.
Yes, this is true. So how's the health?
Health is good. Looking at some New Year's, and had little back issues here and there, which definitely helped me out, and I can't thank you enough for that.
You're welcome.
But looking at some health goals as far as working on footwork, which hopefully will turn into losing a bit of the midsection as well.
Are you kidding me? You look great.
I always try, it's the beard. It does so much with everything else.
Yeah, no.
Maybe, trim a little bit, get some little glue.
Yeah,
get you a little bit.
Yep, absolutely. Any matches you looking at coming up?
Definitely always love shooting the Western. I mean, how'd you?
Well, that's not until May, right?
I realize that. I mean, but, some of the local club matches, but I mean, next big match, unless there's something else that we could figure out before then. I definitely am looking forward to that match. It's one match that I absolutely love. I love traveling, going up there.
Well, you always seem to do well on that match.
I mean, that doesn't hurt either, but...
You always come home with wood. For some reason or another, oh my God, he won another one.
Sometimes the chips just fall that way.
No, I can't be more proud of that.
It's panned out really well for me up there. Mm-hmm. Even when I thought that, it's just not going to happen, and somehow it does, so...
Right.
If it keeps happening, then if it's not broke, don't fix it.
That's right. That's right. So what do you got in the black bag?
So I got a little Sig P365 in here.
What?
I know. It's definitely one of my favorite little concealed carry guns.
So did that recently make the roster?
So it actually did recently make the roster. A couple different things that changed from, this is one of the original P365s, not the XLs or macros, the Spectres, all that, which in theory you can make any of those guns out of the fire control unit, which would kind of go in a little more in depth and kind of explain that one.
All right.
The big things with the California model is it does come optic ready, so we can shoot carry optics with it as well if you so choose, or use different adapter plates to run any kind of carry optics as well.
So when you say optic ready, does it have a base plate? Or?
So what happens is on the California version, they actually have a plate that goes up in through here that you can remove.
Wow.
And you could, I believe the Sig Romeos will go directly on the Holosun K series, the 507K, the 407K.
So you don't have to get it milled?
You don't have to get it milled on the new California edition ones.
Wow.
The other thing that some people do like or do not like is it actually has a manual thumb safety as well on the California edition.
Okay. Wow. So what's your favorite features on this one?
Favorite features are very small, compact firearm with a hefty magazine capacity for how small it is.
So definitely concealable for
definitely concealable. With the flush mount mags, you're actually at 10+1. So for something in that small of a package to have that kind of capacity is a huge bonus.
Wow, 10+1.
10+1.
So 1 in the barrel, 10 on the mag, so it does make it, I'm not sure what's going on with the mags, but I'll have to give you guys an update on it. So they actually put 10 in this small little
10 in that little thing right there.
Wait a minute, this is not a 380.
It is not, it is 9mm.
10, 9mm in this mag. That's crazy. That is crazy.
For a small package like this, and one thing I do really like about it is being that it is such a small package, the grips on the front strap and back strap are kind of rounded off rather than having a lot of the single stack pistols to where it actually fits your hand a little bit better. For me, even with big paws, a little gun like this still shoots very well, and I absolutely love shooting it.
So if you're changing mags and so forth, I noticed that it's common to get mag
It does
bites.
get that little mag bite, so what I tend to end up doing is after I re-grip, I end up kind of opening up to where you're not really getting that pinch, but then you're coming back over, and with some meaty paws, you can get pinched very quick.
So it's kind of like, having tea, you gotta move your pinky up.
Yeah, you gotta be sophisticated with your pinky up.
So you're, okay. So let's talk about iron sights versus optics. Would you put optics on this thing?
I would. I mean...
That's definitely the trend these days.
Definitely the trend. You would ask my opinion, 5-10 years ago. I've been like, I'm not quite sure yet. Do I think optics are the wave of the future? Absolutely. Do I think it is definitely an enhancement? Yes. Is there a steep learning curve? Absolutely. Especially for shooters who've been shooting for a very long time.
I would definitely have to agree with that.
Now being target focused rather than front sight focused,
Right.
it is a huge change. But do I ultimately think it's an absolute game changer? Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely more specific, I would have to say.
Yeah, that's a good analogy to put.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, just okay or close is okay. For me, that's in competition. That's just not good enough for me, right? So
Yeah.
for me, I'd like to know that wherever the dot is or wherever my sights are, that's where the hole's going to be.
Point aim, point of impact.
But a lot of times, especially with iron sights, that's not the case, right?
Yeah.
So
And with a small gun, do I think an optic works even better for it? Yes, absolutely. With such a small sight radius,
Yeah.
with these little guns, I mean, optic pays huge advantages, and especially at distance. I
Right.
think it's not a must, but if you really want to start putting it to its full potential, just
Yeah.
like any other gun, I think you'll get much more benefits from small guns with optics rather than large guns with optics when you go like for like.
So when you a formable test for something like this is actually taken into competition, IDPA, not necessarily USPSA, because that would be
It'd be very interesting.
That'd be very grueling, but definitely IDPA. How do you think this would fend for an IDPA?
I think it'd be an absolutely great gun for a bug. I mean, I'm really curious and trying to. I haven't personally shot it in bug,
Yeah.
which who knows? Maybe when that's something we'll see.
Oh man, I've done that once. They
Did a little
forced
bug
me-
revolver, right?
Bug revolver, a 5-shot bug revolver. They told me to come out to Arizona. They have a division specifically just for us, and that was probably the most work I've ever had to do when I shot. I literally sat there and I would have this conversation with myself as I reloaded, because that's how long it took me to reload.
Go grab a lunch, quick drink.
I'm semi-automatic bug. So this one is 6 rounds plus 1, right? In bug division.
Correct.
So that's actually a little bit more doable, I would have to say.
Absolutely.
In
I mean,
IDPA,
the
right?
reloads would be lightning fast compared to little 5-round stripper clips.
So this one, so in the bug division, has a 95 power factor, 6 round plus 1. They're allowing you to have 4 mags, 1 in the gun, 3 on the belt. So the length of this barrel has to be under 3.5. What's the length of this
If I
barrel?
remember correctly, don't quote me on it, so keyboard commandos, take it easy on me. I haven't measured it, but I believe if I am correct, I think it's 3.25.
Oh my God. Is that even considered a barrel?
It's barrel-esque.
Okay.
I mean, compared to a little 5-shot revolver at, what, 1.25 inch barrel,
Right.
that's a
Right, yeah.
pretty
yeah.
large, significant difference.
Would you recommend a gun like this to what type of shooter? A new shooter, brand new to shooting competition, or intermediate?
For competition-wise,
Yeah.
I would say someone that's at least in the intermediate. I think having such a small gun does not do any favors for you at all, like we're discussing in a bug competition.
Yeah.
Having a small sight radius, running around with only 6 rounds in your gun, rather than a full size like Glock 17 or something of that nature, running an SSP with 15 rounds. I mean, it's not even a choice.
Yeah.
So I think someone that's experienced that wants to really challenge himself for competition, bug is an absolute game changer as far as really picking your shots, slowing down, and knowing where you could speed up and slow down, because you are definitely not flying by the seat of your pants with one.
Yeah, it's just I don't mind shooting bug. I just it's for me. I just didn't have a great time doing it, such as like a gun that really shoots faster than I can think. For me, I have attention deficit, right? So I sit there, I got to do something. PCC, ESP, carry optic, definitely has me on my toes. Bugs, revolvers, and stuff like that, it just gives you too much time, right? So
Yeah, you definitely have to plan out every aspect and be very, very methodical.
what does something like this cost nowadays?
So the new California addition to the 365s running right around $7,000 $720 to $750 or so.
All right,
So I mean, that's not including your tax gross, yada yada yada.
In California.
In California.
Okay.
Some of the other subscribers across the U.S., they could do some of the 365s and some of the other variations of it, and you could get it a whole lot cheaper. But being that California just put this on the roster a month ago or less, they are a hot commodity. They're flying off the shelves, and everybody's wanting one because if someone tells you you can't have something, you're going to want it that much more.
So we're going to have Anthony break this down, give you kind of like a small little tour of the gun as well as the magazines itself. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, that should be quite interesting how this works out.
See you in a minute. Well, as discussed earlier, this is the original version of the P365 by Sig. With the flush mount mags, they are 10 rounds. So you kind of see how it ends up going in through there. With the extended mags and the base plates, we actually increase our capacity to 12 rounds plus 1 in the chamber. One great feature about the P365 is that it's completely modular and actually has a fire control unit on the inside of these firearms. So to access a slide and a basic field strip, go to the takedown lever, the slide lever, and the whole slide comes off. By pressing the rear pin through here, we'll access the fire control unit and actually be able to remove that. So technically, this is the firearm, your registered piece that you are actually doing. Unlike the Glocks or anything of that nature that actually has metal embossed into the frame itself, so that would be the firearm. The SIGs, you could actually change it to where it is completely modular. So through here we have the XL frame, which is quite a bit larger. Basically acts like that 12 round base plate is in that full same length. So from this section you could actually take the XL frame, drop your fire control unit in, just like so. Throw your pin back in and drop your slide right back on it. So now you actually have a larger grip. With the XL magazines, you're now increase your capacity to 15 rounds. Along with the different grip modules that everybody makes now, Wilson, Sig makes a couple other ones. They actually make a metal frame grip panel for these now. All interchangeable with the 365. The only difference is when you actually run the thumb safety, there are some companies that sell jigs to actually cut that notch out. And any of the XL slides, the macro slides, Spectra comps will all fit on the universal fire control unit made by Sig. So a lot of modularity. You could probably make at least a dozen plus combinations of different firearms with one fire control unit. So very versatile.
Wow, thank you for that. That was pretty educational.
Absolutely, anytime.
So you brought it, took it apart. You had the centerpiece that can.
The fire control unit?
Yeah, the fire control unit. You can actually change grips, slides, anything to that.
Yeah. So basically, put it on any of your lower frame modules, pin it in with that single pin. You could basically have all kinds of different manufacturers, like discussed earlier. Wilson, Sig makes different ones. There's some metal ones now. I mean, everybody's coming out with one almost daily. And then same with the slides. The big slide manufacturers are doing them, making their own offshoots of the P365 slides. So length, integral comps, and everything else are completely available for them now.
Trigger adjustments. So is that just a matter of changing springs or?
So depending on what kind of setup, a lot of the guys are using some of the flat face triggers. Gray Guns makes a lot of great parts as far as.
I prefer flat face triggers myself.
And I was on the fence with them for a very long time, and now shooting a lot of the flat face, I actually prefer the flat face.
How crazy of a modification would that, and do you have to go through Sig to achieve something like that?
No, I mean, you could pretty much do it yourself. I mean, I would definitely highly recommend someone that's very familiar with the firearms, obviously.
Yes.
But could the average or maybe slightly above average shooter accomplish a lot of it? Yes. As you can see, by just pressing one pin, could you in theory, change your grip module out with no modification at all, as long as you're using a reputable brand, yes. Once you get into triggers, flat face triggers, springs, anything of that nature, you might want to be a little bit more familiar with it.
So I heard some of the Sig guns with modifications of the trigger. I know that they had negligent discharges or accidental accidental discharges.
I've seen a lot of the different videos, and I know there's a lot of other YouTubers that are, posting this or that. Have I heard of such thing? I've heard of it. Have I ever seen or experienced it firsthand, or someone that was in the room when one of these things happened? No.
Okay.
So I know a lot of guys do love the P320s, which those are the guns they're having the issues with. I've shot them. I haven't had an issue with it. Can't speak for everybody.
Right.
But I can't actually weigh in on it when I haven't experienced or someone that I know, trust, was there and witnessed it.
But for some of the guys that actually do it themselves type of things, those are some of the consequences that can possibly happen.
And I mean, could it happen with any firearm? Absolutely.
Of course.
I mean, we all know that, and that's why we're stringent on safety rules. To ensure that none of those things happen.
Well,
or if they do happen, that they are in a safe environment and the firearm's pointing in the right direction, hence we don't break 180s.
So non-bias, what do you think about the P365?
So maybe not quite non-bias. I've had the original Glock 43, which was basically the same aspect. Once I actually started shooting this firearm, I never shot the 43 anymore. It's just...
Really?
And I'm a big Glock proponent, have many Glocks. I have a handful of SIGs. But for that style package, a small compact carry, concealed carry gun, I mean, for me, it's a night and day difference. I could shoot it that much nicer, further, faster. I mean, the whole gambit of everything on top of the grip fits my hand better.
Okay. Well, SIG is that way. So
SIG typically is. But I mean, for me, it was a night and day difference. So why use something that, in my opinion, was not subpar, but fit the needs that I needed better, and this suited my needs better.
So what's the difference between this and the Hellcat?
Pretty similar, Springfield versus SIG. I'm not 100% positive on a lot of the attributes to the Hellcat. I'm not sure how modular they are. I don't think they're as modular as this guy.
I don't think I've seen anything as modular. That was insane what you did with that.
And the 320s are basically the same aspect. So they're almost like for like. The fire control units do not cross, but anything in the 320 line and the 365 line will actually go within itself. And basically you do the same thing with the 320s, which are now on California roster as well.
Yeah. So getting different types of accessories for that, magazine holsters, and how hard is that to get? You have to get a specific one, or will the Glock holster work for this? Or
I'm not sure cross compatibility on a lot of the different holsters. I would say that now, especially that they're becoming so popular. I think holsters are no longer an issue. I mean, I wouldn't think that they would make Safari Line duty holster level 3 retention that our law enforcement are running, but
right.
I mean, as far as our concealed carry holsters or for competition holsters, I think they'd be very easy to handle as far as now.
Okay. So I'm in the process of trying to find me a 365. I actually am on the list, a waiting list. There's a waiting list for the California compliant one. So
I've only known a handful of people that actually have gotten them so far.
So I will definitely make a follow-up to that, and you can bet your bottom dollar that there probably will be a competition on bug guns in the future. So,
see if someone wants to see that. That might be a little rough.
Like a monkey with a football, right? So
I think that's what they call it nowadays.
The because that's exactly going to be me.
Oh, it's going to be a yard sale all over the place.
So everybody needs to stay tuned for that. That will definitely be upcoming. I just got to wait until they come in, in California with my gun. So once that comes in,
I think you're going to be more than happy with it.
It's going to be awesome. So everybody stay tuned for that, and thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for coming.
Anytime, absolutely.
I really appreciate you coming.
Anytime.
So we'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for showing up and spending some time with us, and we'll see you very soon.
See you out on the range.